Give me 1 second, folks. Grab a drink. Oh, I need my knife too. Here we go. There we go. That was weird. Okay. I need my browser tabs. Where's my Chrome? There we go. All right. Wow. We are good to go now. So up first, we've got Josh's HomePod, of course, with no power. Giving it a quick peek at the kilowatt, we have the usual power draw for what we expect to be a dead diode. Let's crack it open and see what we're dealing with. Hey, welcome to the stream, mate. How many have we repaired since we started? It's somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 for sure. How many of those have been the diodes? Probably 8 or 9 out of 10 of them. Eight or 9 out of every 10. Pretty much the majority of them. I'd say more like about 8 out of 10. And then you get the ones like death farts and other random physical damage and but we pretty much are always dealing with no power. All right. Now that isn't saying 8 or 9 out of every 10 HomePods out there have the same bad diode in it. I would very, very roughly guess that to actually be more like like 1 out of 2, every 2 HomePods around about would have the same faulty diode inside waiting to die for no reason and cause no power. Hey, you take care. Thanks for dropping by. Sounds like, it sounds like they're still awake, so I'm not gonna whisper. And there I go, start whispering again. I'm just so used to doing this while they're asleep that I talk so quietly. Don't want to wake them up. My thoughts about Apple not acknowledging the problem? Oh boy. Not the first time I've shared my thoughts, but it's not, I'm not gonna blame them for not catching it originally, because it does seem like the problem in general isn't one that wouldn't have really presented itself until the diodes really started getting used for a few weeks or months. Probably more. Let's see, so if they were made 2017, week 48, I mean, at some point you can't expect you can only expect manufacturers to test a product for so long before they think that it's good and ready to go. No problems. Because eventually it's going to become obsolete and they're going to have to redesign it and retest it and repeat the process. They'll never be able to put the thing out in the first place. So, that said, just because they weren't reasonably able to catch the problem before releasing the HomePod doesn't mean they don't know about the problem now. And the fact that they still tell their customers things like, oh, it's an out of warranty software issue, and stuff like that, where it's just outright lies. But I mean, I'm not the first person you've heard stuff like this from. And HomePods aren't the first thing they've done this kind of stuff with. Unfortunately, though, HomePods are one of the least popular products of theirs. So it just doesn't have the number of people behind it to bring a big enough stink about the problems that it would have. My theory. So they just, they figured they can get away with just sweeping all the problems from the first gen under the rug. And it's like, I mean, I guess technically it's not really at the root Apple's fault that the diode fails. It's manufactured by Diodes Incorporated. So, but still, Apple's the one that sold the assembled product to you. No, second-gen HomePods don't have the same problem. They use a newer diode, and we use a new diode. Just literally using a diode that's not within the same 2 weeks of manufacturing that we've seen failing, you're good to go. So none of the second gens use they're far too new to have been using the same diodes. I had one person recently emailing me for a second gen HomePod with no power issues. But that's the first one we've actually had since the second gen was released. So, also though, gotta keep in mind, second gens, most of them are still going to be in warranty, so makes no sense for people to reach out to me for repair unless their issue is not covered under their warranty for some reason. No, I haven't even responded to the email yet. No idea what it could be. Probably a short somewhere.
having trouble.
All right. Hey, you have a good one. Take care. Well, now we've got... Is it another one with no power? Yep. After that, we've got Jesus. All right. Yeah. Looks like the exact same thing as the last one. Let's jump right in. Do have a bit of a crack right there, so we'll be careful around that. We don't want to make it worse. how did we learn this? Which part in particular? Because there's a few different places that we learned a few different things to ultimately accomplish the overall, HomePod repair. We learned how to take these things apart at first with an iFixit guide that someone that goes by the name of Nick, no relation, but they found a nice clean way inside of these things without being destructive. And then this particular issue with the no power diode failure, there's a video from Electronics Repair School on YouTube called Fixing the Most Irreparable Apple Product Ever, something like that. And granted, it took them like 2 or 4 hours or something, and it was not put back together very cleanly. He was, as far as I know, one of the first people to correctly diagnose this no power issue. I applied the same logic to a few of my own broken HomePods that I had bought online. And to my surprise, it seemed to be a very common issue. And it just took a lot of practice working on these, doing your scrap boards, getting the hang of it. But we've been doing this for a little over 2 years now. So we've seen some things. We've fixed some pods. What's the average cost for this repair? Oh, well, I mean, pretty much the majority of all of the repairs we get in are about 60 to 70 bucks. And then shipping too. The most that we charge for a repair, no matter what's wrong, is $100. And that's if this bad boy needs to be replaced, pretty much. That's really like worst case scenario kind of repairs. And then you've got an extra 40 bucks if you we offer the option for people to get their white ones dyed a custom color if they would like. And we can also color the tops and the power cables too. Looking good. Let's make it look like a HomePod again. Do I work on iPhones as well? I can, but I don't do anything that anybody else doesn't already do. I wouldn't be able to do it for any less, and I quite frankly can't even actually do as much as many other like specialized phone repair shops can do. I can really only just do some of the basic stuff. We really specialize in the HomePods, of course, but we also like to take on other repairs that people just can't seem to find someone to actually fix the thing. For example, we had somebody send in, it's called a Juve portable red light therapy device, and it pretty much just needed a new battery, and the dude couldn't get anybody else to do it. They found us. We've fixed Xbox Elite Series 2 controllers. We've done Steam Deck shell swaps. We did a USB-C port on a Steam Deck. That one was interesting because they sent the Steam Deck in originally with no charge, no power symptoms. And of course we got it. It wouldn't charge with anything, and it wouldn't power on or show any signs of life. So we took it apart. We poked around for a while, and we couldn't really find anything wrong until we, by luck, we were probing we were just trying to see if the board was getting any power through the port, and lo and behold, it wasn't. So we visually inspected the port, the USB-C port, and lo and behold, it was physically damaged. Half the pins were missing. So we replaced the port, and the thing powered right up. Of course, what probably happened was they bought it secondhand. So what probably happened was the previous owner dropped it, and then it was no longer able to charge for so long that it just went completely dead flat. But it was probably dropped while it was plugged in, of course, so it busted the port up. What advice would I give to someone starting in this field? That's a good question. I would say keep an open mind and keep lots of spare parts. Because you think you might have something figured out, and then you're surprised by something completely different or new. Like we thought we had seen all of the issues for HomePods, for example, and we had one come in for no power. And we went in, we saw the diode we normally see. We replaced it, and it still wouldn't power on. And we were like, well, what the heck? We spent a few hours trying to figure out what it was, until we figured out it had nothing to do with anything other than actually the logic board had a short on it. And, well, that actually plays into both pieces of my advice there. One, keep an open mind. Could be it could always be something other than what you think it is. And two, with plenty of spare parts, I mean, you can very quickly and easily nail down which component is actually causing the fault if you're not sure yet. Because I mean, you've got this display board here, you've got the logic board, you've got ribbon cables and connectors pulling everything together, you've got the amplifier and power supply boards. There's a lot of stuff that could realistically go wrong, especially if it's, if you're just getting into it. And this doesn't just apply to HomePods, this is really anything. But it helps a lot if you have spare parts, spare known good parts, so that you can cut a lot of that troubleshooting time out and drill right down to the part that you know is causing problems. And then, of course, aside from that, spend your time just researching general problems online related to the things that you want to fix. Get some inspiration, get some ideas, get some leads. One of the most frustrating problems with the HomePods was death farts. That's when, let's see, does my soundboard work? I don't know, that probably worked, but you've got the death fart sound that the HomePods are known to have a problem with. And for the longest time, everybody thought that it was specifically the amplifier chip on the amplifier board that was going bad and causing this. And it's a proprietary chip made specifically for the HomePod, based on an off-the-shelf part, but nobody knew that at the time. So I did a bunch of research, and well, we knew that it was caused by DC offset, but people thought it was the amp chip causing the DC offset, causing the death farts. And when I was, I was trying to figure out what could be due to find what's causing these death farts and actually fix it if it's not the amp chip, because I was skeptical of it being the amp chip. I came across this blog post, someone talking about DC offset's characteristics. One of the things that stood out was heat will make DC offset worse. I was like, okay, so if I start heating up small areas of the board and I watch my multimeter for a spike in that DC offset, I can find where in particular on this board the actual bad component that's causing this DC offset is located. And that is where we found the filters for the amplifier that go bad. And that's how we fixed. That's how we found the fix for death farts. And I mean, now we know which capacitors it is and to replace them. But at the time, people weren't even guessing the right component was what was causing it. Everybody thought it was the amp chip here, when it was actually the 4 capacitors right here. Boy, what a moment that was when we figured it out. Because, like, we will not take credit for being the first person to find a fix for the no power issue, but I will gladly take credit for 90% of the other problems and like what we've got on our website. Unless I credit somebody else, we figured all this out on our own. Trial and error. Sometimes you just gotta brute force it. You just got no other option than to start pulling parts off and replacing it with known good ones until something works. Okay. So now we've got Jesus, no power. That didn't do anything. How do I open this box? Ah, there we go. Man, some of you guys, I swear, you're trying to give me a workout. Do I have a background in electronic engineering? I have a GED. I have a GED and a lifetime up to my ripe old age of 30 years of personal experience tinkering. And the world of the internet at my fingertips. I would still absolutely love to go to college, get some formal education under my belt. That would, no denying it, absolutely help us quite a lot. And it would open up a lot more options for us. But I'm not in a huge rush at the moment. Right now, I'm just we're doing what we can do, and we're pretty good at it. And we're enjoying ourselves. We've got a wife and kid we've got to spend time with. Once the kid gets a little older, I'll probably take some classes though. But right now I just want to spend time with them. And I want to work on my cars. Oh, I forgot to update who's next. Up next is Mr. Doug. Thank you, appreciate it. And that may be true, but I will not deny that there are definitely still gaps in my knowledge, and it would benefit me a lot to round that out a bit. We'd be able to fix a fair bit more of the one-off problems that we have show up here. We wouldn't have to use just sheer brute force as much. And by that I mean blindly replacing parts until something works. Which, I mean, when you run out of options, it's a perfectly valid option. That's how we figured out quite a few repairs. We just got desperate and we started replacing every single part on the board until the problem went away. And we confirmed with another HomePod with the same problem. We repeated the problem, repeated the repair. Good to go. Throw it up on the website. Add it as an option for people to, if people want to send their HomePod in to get fixed, this is another one we can fix. But man, I watch some people on YouTube that do electronics repairs, and what I'm talking about is like they can look at an electronics board and pretty much immediately understand the flow of everything and how, what's going on, what the board does, and what it's, what does what where. And being able to do that helps immensely with being able to identify potential problems or even just know where to start troubleshooting. And I mean, for example, the that electronics repair school channel that I was talking about with their video on the no power HomePod repair. just his fundamental understanding of electronics gave him the ability to pretty much relatively quickly hone in on where the problem area might even be, diagnose, and then fix it. And for having never seen the inside of it before, no experience repairing it before, or any knowledge of the issue, 2 to 4 hours to open it up and figure that out is pretty impressive. And that's only something that I can do on a product that I've worked on for 2 years. Not just any electronic, that's just insane. Blows my mind. That's where I want to be. Okay, it's another 4-8K. I need another beer. All right. Bubbly bum biddy doo biddy dum da 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 dum. Yeah. Well, fixing's only the beginning for us. I don't want to be doing repairs my whole life. I want to be making stuff. I want to show Sing what a real speaker is supposed to be like. Like, they got close. They got this close. But then they missed the mark. And they missed it hard. I want to make speakers. I want to make my own speaker company. Oh boy, we're gonna kick ass too. We're gonna fuck everyone up. You think HomePods are nice? You think the SingCell Alpha is nice? You think Martin Logan's and Kefs and whatever else those things are that you spend tens of thousands of dollars on are nice? No. We'll show you how it's done. And you're not gonna have to spend that much money to do it. That's really what I want to do. I want to get into making stuff. Making products. Designing products. Like kick-ass products that just absolutely smoke anything in the competition. And it's gonna be easy because frankly, I'm not that good. I don't know. Like, I don't want to make a whole bunch of money doing it. I don't want to make money. I want to make stuff. My brain too smooth. At least right now. And fixing stuff scratches a real good itch in the meantime. But fixing a bunch of stuff will give us a lot of experience that we need to eventually make our own stuff. Is that a new diode? It is absolutely not the same diode. You wouldn't catch us doing that if it saved our lives. It is a brand new diode, manufactured either in 2023 or 2024, so far outside of the date range of diodes that are normally failing and causing problems. But also, it is a slightly higher rated diode that is also put through slightly stricter quality control. So it's like a three-way. We're absolutely sure this is going to fix the problem, because we're pretty sure the only reason these are failing is just a bad batch of them within a certain date range. It has nothing to do with the particular specification of the diode. Like, the part itself seems to be perfectly fine for what they're doing with it. The problem is whatever the hell Diodes Incorporated had in their water during week 46 and week 48 of 2017 when they made these diodes. Because we just see too many examples of ones inside of that date range failing, and absolutely none outside of that date range having problems. And like I said earlier, someone else was asking, I would guess 1 out of every 2 HomePods has one of these bad diodes inside waiting to fail. And the date range of diodes actually used spans from as early as 1720K to like 1750. Actually, we've seen a couple of 1800Ks. So the actual range of diodes used in the production of these HomePods is quite large. It's specifically those 2 weeks of diodes that are having problems. And unfortunately, there's no correlation to the serial number on the HomePod itself, so you can't find out without opening the thing up and looking at the date code on the diode. Thankfully, you don't really need to worry about it anyways. If your HomePod's working just fine, so be it. Don't worry about it. If you do have the bad diode inside, it's not, if and when it does fail, the repair itself is not going to be any different. It's not going to break anything else, and it's going to be just that one diode. So there's no sense in risking breaking something, taking it apart, until there is a problem with it. And that's usually what I tell people. Well, I get a lot of people emailing me. They're like, hey, can I pay you to, like, my HomePod works just fine right now. Can I pay you just to take it apart and see if it has the bad diode in it or not? And I'm like, honestly, it's not even worth it. Just wait until it does fail. If it does have the bad part, because it's not going to cost you any more or less. I'm going to charge you the same if you want me to open it up and see if it has it and it's good or not, or not. And thankfully, when that diode does fail, it doesn't take anything else out with it. So it's the exact same amount of work if you take the thing apart to replace it before or after it fails. Don't even worry about it. Oh, anytime. Always like a good brain picking. You know, I believe sometimes people don't even know what they want for themselves or what they want to do until somebody asks them and they have to actually verbalize it or put it into words. And sometimes those moments are, you know, when somebody decides something or when somebody's path of life is set. Pick those brains. And let your brain be picked. You have a new sub. Oh, thanks. Now, we're far more boring when we run out of alcohol, trust me. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Well, is it gonna be all no power repairs again tonight? I personally won't complain. Sometimes we need a little. Just a day that goes exactly the way we want it to. Alright, stick that down, plug that in. This one's interesting. So I don't know why they did this, probably just to keep it in there and keep it from coming out, but you can't just slide this in there, right? You gotta actually pop it in there at like a 45-degree angle. And then you can lock it down. Fine example of perhaps a little over-engineering. But it all adds up to a speaker that, minus a thing here and there, should, in theory, last for a very long time. Get these on. Who wants to guess what's wrong with Doug's HomePod? I'm gonna guess it's no power. Get the blinkies on there. How to fix blinking volume buttons. Remove display. There you go. I'm just going to tell that to everybody that asks me that from now on. Have you found fix to blinking volume buttons? If I had $1 for every time I was asked that question, I could afford to buy Apple and force them to give us a software fix for it, because that's all it needs. Just let me click the restore button when I plug this thing into my computer. All right. I think that's actually all that we're going to do here today. We'll save Doug, and it looks like we've got one other, so we've got 2 more to fix. We'll save those for tomorrow.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Beautiful. Well, folks, that's all that I've frankly got the energy for here now. Better stop while we're ahead. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair. Subscribe if you want to catch the next one and more like this, and some fun, interesting ideas coming in the near future. We just got to have the time for it, but we've got some cool stuff here, completely unrelated to HomePods. So excited to start working on that. As always, catch you in the next one.